Well, I mean, it's a question of how you view Trump. I mean, obviously, by any past standards, this is not normal behavior for diplomacy. I mean, obviously, in the end, we're all hoping, and certainly the markets at this point are counting on a lot of this just being political posturing, and this is Trump being Trump. But obviously, they're playing with fire here in terms of all the protectionist talk. The hope is, in the end, that a serious trade war is averted. Not to say there won't be some tariffs on a small amount of goods relative to the overall size of the economy. But in the end, I think the hope and the presumption in the markets is that a lot of this is posturing and that to a large extent sense will prevail.
But I mean, you say we're all hoping. There are a large amount of Americans who, and to be honest, I was listening to phone-ins over the weekend, and Brits as well, who believe that Mr. Trump gets things done. They like the way he rips up the protocol, doesn't sign communiques, which he doesn't agree with. And goodness knows, Jim, I've been in dismay at many G7, G8 and G20 communiques over the years because they've just been very bland and haven't actually stated very much as well, not anything meaningful. So is the president actually achieving anything, is what I'm asking?
Well, I mean, a communique itself doesn't really matter in the scheme of things, of course. I mean, in the end, it does matter if there is serious protectionism. Now, so far we've had tariffs on steel and aluminum, which are a tiny part of the economy. And even the $50 billion that's being talked about in terms of tariffs and the amount of goods being tariffed with China, if that goes through, is pretty tiny compared with the 20 trillion US economy. But the question is, where does this end? Does it keep growing, and does retaliation lead to retaliation, and retaliation to retaliation to retaliation, et cetera, et cetera? I mean, so, I mean, this is playing with fire for sure. But I do think in the end, to a large extent, sense will prevail. I mean, maybe that's wishful thinking, but I mean, that seems to be what is in the markets at this point as well.
For all the negative commentary around the weekend meeting, I mean, there was consensual language that came out of the initial communique. And I think you can take that on board at least and see that as a positive direction of travel, the fact that everybody signed up to the idea of free, fair and mutually beneficial trade. Now, it did get a little spoiled at the end because of the spat with Trudeau, but this is not the huge divergence away from the type of world that has kept trade growing for the last 20, 30 years.
Well, certainly, I mean, Trump himself will say that he's for free trade. But the question is, how do you get there? And in terms of how willing is he to pick fights and to put tariffs on in the process of trying to negotiate a better deal for the U.S.
Yeah.
And certainly he's playing with fire. There's no question about that.
Markets are broadly positive this morning coming out of Asia. I mean, I can't believe that's all about the impending summit in Singapore.
Well, no, I think the feeling is that this is largely posturing, that in the end we won't see a major trade war. I mean, I think that's been, I mean, the way people have looked at this so far. I mean, obviously, again, by past standards, this sort of language and behavior could be extrapolated as the end of the Western alliance. But I think people are thinking this is not normal standards with Trump, and I think you have to discount it to a certain extent. Now, again, whether that's the right view or not remains to be seen.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now, to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.